Green has went away.
There he is.
You don't see me?
Yeah, I got another screen up.
We see you.
We see you now.
I see.
All right, we're streaming live. Okay, fellas. Streaming live now. This is Hoya Locker Room, episode 67. This is our March Madness edition. Also celebrating our Hoya brethren that's doing their thing in the coaching ranks. I want to thank Horace Broadnax and Tyler Adams for stopping through. And we definitely want to celebrate them in terms of they both had outstanding seasons this year. But without further ado, let me intro my co-host, Markham Stansbury Jr. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Before we get started, I just want to give a couple of shout outs to some people. Nia Terry, my niece, who called me yesterday. You notice I'm not in my usual Georgetown gear. I got on a biking shirt. She hit me up and asked if I would ride with her in the LA marathon pre-bike ride. So I put in 21 miles at 4 o'clock this morning.
I thought marathon was 26 miles. What happened to the other 5?
Well, they started into the marathon route.
Okay. Okay.
I thought bikes run about 100 miles.
Well, I'm just telling you.
You got a point. You got a point.
and my man Colin Chandler's son, Kennedy Chandler, had a tough out yesterday against Michigan with the Tennessee Volunteers. You're gonna see big things from my guy. So,
well, speaking of, if you're gonna give a shout out on the March Madness tip, we'll give a shout out to Coach Bill Stein. He was at Georgetown for 10 seasons. I want to say he helped recruit me with St. Peter's doing their thing in the NCAAs. Coach Stein, after he left Georgetown, he was AD over at St. Peter's for a gang of years, almost 20 years. And I think he's still like emeritus over there as well. So shout out to Coach Bill Stein. So yeah, cool. I really want to thank Tyler and Horace for stopping through. I just like to jump into how did you both get started in coaching? What was the push for you? And then we'll take it from there. And we'll let the old guy start. Horace, you can start.
Old guy. I don't know. It's been a while back, man. I just enjoyed basketball. Enjoyed my experience at Georgetown. It was up and down, and I was getting ready to practice law, and I just wasn't feeling it as much as I wanted to feel. I was kind of gravitating back to coaching. I was at Florida State with Pat Kennedy, and I was trying to get on his staff while I was in law school. So it was kind of difficult, but I just enjoyed the game and enjoyed some of the experiences and the lessons that I was taught, through basketball and also at Georgetown, Coach Thompson. So just wanted to get back in it and really try to enjoy life and pass along guys some of the stuff that I missed out as a player. Was oblivious to a lot of things that college basketball can offer you, not necessarily from a basketball standpoint, but just from a networking standpoint, just from an education standpoint. And, just didn't take advantage of everything that Georgetown had to offer during those 4 years. So just wanted to get back in a game that I enjoyed and also pass along some life lessons that I learned. So
with that, Horace has always been a modest dude. And so I'm going to piggyback on that and just basically give you some of your shout outs. You kind of started at Florida as a video coordinator. Am I correct? Is that where you?
Yeah, well, actually, I started at Florida A&M University as a volunteer guy. Then I bounced to Bethune-Cookman College as an assistant coach, and then I went to University of Florida.
You went to University of Florida, and just your exploits in the MEAC. Now, what were you 3 times Coach of the Year in the MEAC?
Yeah, I think I got one at Savannah State and two at Bethune-Cookman College.
So the dude was coach of the year 3 years in a row. He can't remember. And currently where you're at Savannah State, the school first MEAC regular season title, and then obviously you coach of the year in 2011, as you mentioned, and then you tournament champions this year, and you're coming off a loss in the tournament. And again, I just want to congratulate you on an incredible season. So, you know, with that, we'll jump into Tyler. Tyler, what got you into coaching?
Oh, well, as most people may know, you know, my playing career was cut short, you know, because of my heart condition. So once I quit, you know, playing at Georgetown, you know, Coach Thompson, you know, JT3 kept me around as pretty much like a player coach. And, you know, he would give me, you know, roles, you know, in practice and, you know, roles, you know, outside of practice, you know, to, you know, help the team out, you know, and he kind of, you know, started calling me his junior coach. So that kind of, you know, pushed me into getting into coaching, you know, once I graduated. And, you know, as soon as I graduated from Georgetown, got my degree in 2015, I graduated in May, and that August, you know, I was coaching at a high school in Mississippi, in North Mississippi, Columbus High School, and we won a state championship my first year of coaching. Then a year after that, I went to my alma mater high school back here in Mississippi, Brandon High School, about 15 miles outside of Jackson. Then after that, I bounced around, coached at a couple of junior colleges. Now ended up coaching my second year at Alcorn. So I pretty much got started, you know, Coach Thompson pretty much pushed me to, you know, to start coaching, you know, because, you know, he was like, it's more to, you know, life other than playing basketball. You know, he always told me that you could use basketball, you know, and a big coach always told me that, you know, use basketball, don't let basketball use you. And, you know, that's what I did after I wasn't able to play no more after my heart condition and whatnot.
And as we all know, Tyler's legendary, fan favorite. You know, the fact that you stayed engaged, you stayed connected to the program, always reference you, just in terms of whatever it takes by any means necessary to contribute to what's going on the floor. That's always been part of our history and part of our culture at Georgetown. And I think you embodied that. Markham, you want to jump in here?
Well, both of you guys touched on life outside of basketball, after basketball, et cetera. And Horace, you specifically said you didn't really take advantage of the things that Georgetown had to offer. And we're beginning stages of forming the Georgetown Men's Basketball Alumni Association. And I'm curious, especially from you, Horace, because you you were at Georgetown at its peak, winning the national championship. What do you wish you had done differently after you graduated in terms of staying connected, taking advantage of opportunities that you maybe didn't?
I mean, like I tell my student athletes, you know, you're going to have a family within the basketball realm, but at the same time, you know, it's so much at an institution. It's unbelievable as far as trying to network with professors, network with, you know, non-basketball players.
Apologize, guys. Apologize.
Non-athletic guys. And it's a few guys that I connected with, but I wish I would have did that a little bit more often. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're networking. I'm pretty sure everybody on this call and just being in this basketball networking has pushed me a long ways. And I think Georgetown and being in Washington, D.C. and, you know, working on the Hill and not necessarily fully taking advantage of those opportunities, it was just basically probably just, you know, lack of an understanding and just a good base of knowledge coming into Georgetown. But so I try to pass that along, just networking with people, trying to kind of like what Tyler said, don't let basketball use you, but use basketball. But in the same sense, you got to try to squeeze every ounce of resources out of that institution. And Georgetown has a lot of resources, and they touch a lot of people that, you know, I wish I would have kind of like plugged into that. I understood that. I really didn't understand it. So it would have been difficult for me to go back and do it. I mean, obviously, I try to tell that with the kids, you know, connect with professors. The resources on this campus is amazing, because from a coaching standpoint, I have to try to tap into those same resources to try to elevate the basketball program. So I try to get those guys. So I mean, just understanding the resources, networking, and it's kind of hard, you know. I think because, you know, you're there to do a job, and your job is to win basketball games. And Coach Thompson basically he emphasized that every day. We didn't have days off, Tiger. It was no 6 days on and 1 day off, or 20 hours a week. I don't recall, you know, we practiced, you know, however many hours was necessary. Matter of fact, we practiced 6 hours in 1 day because of Gene Smith. We practiced from 4:30 to 7:30 in the morning, came back in the afternoon, practiced from 4:30 to 7:30 in the afternoon. That's 6 hours. That's illegal based on the NCAA today. We didn't have none of them rules back in the day.
What do you recall what Gene did to bring that on? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we won the national championship, and he went out celebrating beyond curfew.
So wait. You're telling me that after you won the national championship, y'all had to practice?
No. We had curfew. And then when I came back my junior year, Gene was gone, and Coach punished us.
Oh, wow.
He punished us because Gene misdeed.
He just put it on the layaway, as they used to say. He put punishment on layaway. Wow.
That's the coach was just, you know, he was signaling a signal to everybody. You know, he tried to keep stuff in line, you know, so he kept it in line. If you was a freshman, you had to be there at 3:30. So I wasn't no freshman.
Yeah,
so
I remember those days well. As a matter of fact, we practiced on Christmas Day once, and Mark Tillman started giggling in practice, and I heard the words, "Son, I don't know what you think this is, but I don't give a damn about Santa Claus."
We heard that too, right, Horace? We heard that too.
Yeah, we practice on Christmas every year. In Division II now, everybody got to take 7 days off, the entire Division II. So it's called a Christmas break, no, a winter break. I ain't never heard no damn winter break.
Hey, fellas, I want to shift into something that I find very interesting, and it also ties in, I think, to this similarities to what's going on in the Hilltop. And I'm going to move around a little bit, but Tyler, I want to start with you. Being so established, I mean, you're considered one of the top players of your decade in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And a lot of your body of work, your coaching, I like how you both talked about, you know, the journey, you know, on some level, because it's not like you just show up. You have to go through, you started high school, went to a community college, you went here, you went there, video coordinator, all these things come into play. With you, was there an extra amount of pressure for you, or did you feel a sense of responsibility staying in Mississippi, contributing to basketball there? How does that feel? Is that the ultimate give back? Yeah, I like to touch on that.
Well, part of it is, but you know, I mean, I just took the opportunity that were presented to me. Like, I wouldn't per se say that I was looking to coach, you know, at Alcorn State, you know, but you know, once the opportunity presented itself, I do take more pride, you know, since I'm coaching at you know, at a school from the state that I was born and raised from. You know, I do take more pride, you know, helping them have success. And, you know, we got about 6 or 7 Mississippi kids on the roster. So, you know, I do take, you know, responsibility, you know, of, you know, producing for our state, you know, and it's, you know, inspired me to, you know, drive a little harder to be more successful for Alcorn State. Because, you know, this year was the first time since 2002 that they won the SWAC regular season title or played in the postseason. So, you know, that was big for our program and big for the state of Mississippi, especially, you know, Alcorn's always been known as, you know, like the little brother to Jackson State and, you know, football and basketball. So, you know, it was good to just put the school on the map, you know, and turn the program around with, you know, in less than 2 years.
Congratulations, Joe.
Yeah,
That's interesting. I did not realize that. So Alcorn, it's like Michigan State and Michigan, that type of deal.
Yeah, like
wow.
Jackson, you know, had, you know, I mean, Alcorn did have Steve McNair, but, you know, Jackson State, you know, as far as football and basketball, you know, they, you know, Lindsey Hunter went to Jackson State, Purvis Short, you know, went to Jackson State, you know, so they've known to have more NBA players, you know, versus Mississippi Valley and Alcorn. So, you know, we've always, you know, Alcorn always been known as, you know, kind of like the little brother. But so it was good to, you know, turn the program around, you know, show people that, you know, that Alcorn can win too.
So this is for both of you. What would you say is the biggest transition, the hardest part from going from player to coach? Recruiting, managing people, managing a budget, you know, whatever it would be for you.
I mean, from my perspective, you know, just playing at the level that we played at, winning the national championship and just doing it at a high level and just how Coach Thompson was so very detailed that, you know, I can remember my first head job at a junior college at Valencia Community College, man. We probably did a layup line for about 45 minutes because guys kept missing layups. And
missing layups? Wow.
Yeah, they'll miss a few layups. I don't recall missing no layups in layup line, but so I mean, just from that level, understanding it from that level, you know, I mean, we played hard because I was coached hard, but you know, just I think the biggest transition was trying to find your voice, find what's you know, kind of like your personality to a certain degree. You know, trying to emulate Coach Thompson too much kind of got me in a lot of trouble until I could find my own voice. You know, I still wanted some of the same things that he wanted, but I just had to deliver it based on who I was. So that was the hardest thing, transitioning from playing to coaching. You know, in high school, you know, it was a good feel. And then when I went to Georgetown, it was just like, hey, man, we're going to fit this square peg in this round hole. And they say, no, coach, the square peg don't fit in a round hole. No, it's going to fit. So, I mean, you know, and I had to just adjust to that, you know, because the type of kids that Coach Thompson recruited lined up with that style. But, you know, some of the kids that was on my roster didn't necessarily. So I just had to kind of adjust my style according to my personality and to the personality of the kids. So I'm still doing that today, you know.
I'd like to put an asterisk.
I
like to put an asterisk. Sorry, Markham. I'd like to put an asterisk on that. Valencia Community College.
Oh, yeah.
Horace led them to their first 20-win season. But what I don't understand is your record there was 29-31. What the hell happened in that 20-win season, Horace?
Oh, no, the first year, I think I won 9 games, 9 and something. And then the second season, I won 20 games.
Got it. Okay. Because I wanted to get into that a little bit later in terms of, you know, what went on the hilltop this season. How would either of you, how would that have affected you and your outlook, or would that have caused you to change your flow during the season? Well, we can get to that later. Tyler, if you could jump into that question about the transition from player to coach, I'd like to hear that as well.
To piggyback off what Horace said, so growing up, you know, playing, I was kind of like, you know, high intensity guy. You know, my dad was, you know, real hard on my brothers and I growing up, you know, as far as being tough. So like when I first, you know, came into the game, I mean, even recently, you know, I had to realize that, you know, you couldn't just, you know, be hard on kids, you know, all the time, tough on them like you grew up, you know. So I had to make an adjustment, you know, and realize, well, I may have to talk to this kid tell this, if I'm going to correct the kid, I may have to compliment him 3 times before I can correct him. I had an adjustment. My head coach, Coach Buster, has helped me make that adjustment the last 2 years as far as, making me realize that, everyone can't take, you being, real hard on them, like a guy like Big John used to be on his guys, or like some of our former coaches was hard on us 15, 20 years ago. And, that's the adjustment that has made me a better coach and made me have more patience, So that was the biggest adjustment for me. Then, another adjustment that, I had to get used to, like my playing career was cut short, and I started coaching when I was 22. So I had to kind of lose the urge to want to practice, and want to always, play, because I was so competitive, So I had to kind of calm down a little bit from that aspect and, not be so competitive, just, and look at it more so like, helping these young men out and become better young men. And once I realized that, I became a much better coach because I always had, the hard worker and the high intensity part of it down pat, especially being at Georgetown and, and being, taught by the best. So.
Both of you guys mentioned the word adjustment. And Horace, you was talking about adjusting to the players you had on your team. I just want to say, I think the best coach adjust to is like most coaches have a system. They say, this is how I want to do X, Y, and Z. But if you get players who can't do X, Y, and Z, but they can do A, B, and C, it speaks to your intelligence to be able to do that. I just want to compliment you on that because so many people do try to fit that square peg into the round hole, as you said, Horace.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do certain things. I know when I first started, I wanted to press, pick up full court. That wasn't the case because I didn't necessarily have those type of players, but I did it in segments. I may do it coming out of timeout, so I may do it off of free throws, but I couldn't do it the whole game because those kids you hadn't developed a culture, or you hadn't developed, hey, this is how we're gonna do it. Like Coach Thompson, he was gonna put that square peg in that round hole because that's what he has. That's what he has established. So it was easy for Gene and Fred to reinforce it into me when I walked through the door. But when you first start out, sometimes you can't necessarily do that.
So Horace, you also mentioned the layup line. I'm just curious. You said they were missing layups. Did you ever have anybody hurt themselves on a layup and miss the game?
I knew Horace was going to appreciate that. Hey, Tyler, you just don't make me smile at that time. Not even funny. It's an inside joke, and it's not even funny.
I didn't know that.
All I know is Horace was cool with it because he got more minutes. So whatever.
I don't know. You put a lot of pressure on me, Gene, because most of the time Coach Thompson would say, "Hey, Horace, Gene is out. I'm gonna need you to put on." He didn't say anything to me. Miss Finley came to me and said, "Listen here, motherfucker. Gene is out. You better not let us down."
Wow.
Horace, I just got lightheaded, Horace.
Wow.
Nah, she didn't necessarily say MF, but I took it as if she said it that way.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's wild.
No doubt.
So Tyler, what would you give me one word? Let's start there to describe the culture of the program now at Alcorn.
Tough.
Horace, what would be your one word?
Oh, Tyler already gave his?
Yeah, he said tough.
He said tough.
Here at Savannah State? Or just me as
at Savannah State, yeah.
I
don't know, man. I've been here 17 years. So that's been up and down and all around. So I mean, I would probably lean towards tough and flexible, really. Being flexible at this institution and at this level, I have to be real flexible.
So I guess I want to keep going with that, the culture and your style of coaching. Ideally, because to Horace's point, you got to be flexible with your personnel. But ideally, and Tyler, we'll start with you. Ideally, when you look at Alcorn State, is there a certain type of player you recruit? Are there intangibles that you look for that stand out more than the other?
Well, we need mentally tough kids because we're not going to have the same resources as kids who come from like Texas A&M or even like Arkansas State. So I try to tell kids who are in the transfer portal or we are recruiting that you're probably going to have a roommate throughout your 2 to 4 years, or however long you're at Alcorn. So you got to be mentally tough enough to be able to deal with that. And, like you're not going to have, the glitz and glamours, that a lot of the high-level Division I schools have. Or you might have to ride a 8-hour bus ride to go play Baylor. Then you might have to get on the bus the day after that and drive 6 more hours to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So you have to be able to be tough enough to, still be able to go through walkthrough after riding the bus for 8 hours or, still be able to have practice, the next morning after riding the bus for 8 to 10 hours. So that's why I say you really got to be mentally and physically tough, or else this grind at this level is not for everyone. And I try to be upfront, with the recruits and the parents, because if you're not tough, you won't be able to make it throughout the year. This year, we had a bunch of mentally tough guys who were able to be flexible, like Horace, mentioned, who were able to be able to adjust on the fly as a coach staff and the players. And we did a good job at doing that. And, it's just taking advantage of, the resource that we did have to be successful. So that's why I say tough is, one word to describe us. And that don't mean so tough as far as like running through the wall, but tough enough to be able to adjust on the fly, to be able to not get frustrated because, you're on an 8-hour bus ride instead of an hour and a half plane flight. So, and for us to be able to make those adjustments off the court helped us on the court, even when we played some of the schools in our conferences who did have better resources than us, and it helped us in the long run throughout the season.
Horace, I want to jump to you because I know Markham's chopping at the bit to say something, but I want to jump at you. Like you talked about emulating Big John when you first started coaching or throughout your coaching career. You did 2 stints at Bethune-Cookman, correct? You would.
The assistant in the head, yes.
Assistant in the head. First, what was that like? Was that something you felt like you had thought about? Is that something that you manifested? And how difficult was that? And without you elaborating what your troubles were, what did you feel was most difficult in terms of today's kids and the culture that you played in? Like, what if you can explain the differences on some level? And a shout out to my brother who also played at Bethune-Cookman, Jarvis Smith. So
that's right. I mean, I was so at that point in my career, man, I was so happy to be coaching because that's what I wanted to do. And I was going to move towards, the ultimate goal of trying to be a Division I head men's basketball coach. So I was happy. And, I would just, and then I just would challenge the kids, I say, hey, man, some of the stuff that the head coach is requiring you to do, we need to do it better, because I would just give them some of the, horror stories, as a lot of people might thought they were horror stories at Georgetown. But and just what Tyler was saying, you don't have all the resources, but, hey, we got a 10-foot goal. They got a 10-foot goal at Carolina. The floor is 94 feet. We got a weight room, but it's not beautiful, but, it's still 125 pounds, 225. So you still could get stuff accomplished, but you just didn't get it accomplished on a more lavish level. But, you know, it was different, you know, but at the same time, you know, I relate, if you think about some of the stuff that we went through at Georgetown University, being one of the best programs in the country at the time, Coach Thompson used to always talk about, we got the worst facilities in the country, you know. So I mean, we were a top 10 program, but we had, you know, bottom 30 facilities. I mean, he kept it clean, he kept it nice, and made it update. But you know, so being at a HBCU at Cookman and Florida A&M University, we like some of the resources, but still, you know, just like Tyler them accomplished what they accomplished. I mean, you got to focus on the goal and not necessarily the aesthetics of the basketball game, because you got everything that everybody else has. You just don't have it at that higher level or that luxury level. So I was excited about coaching at that particular time. So I kind of overlooked it. I just wanted to get in there and work and grind. And that's what Coach Thompson basically instilled in us. Hey man, let's go out here and, you know, and outwork the next man. So no matter what we got, let's outwork the ass.
Yeah. I had the unique pleasure of playing a couple of years with Horace, and I can't say I was surprised when you got into coaching, because you were always a cerebral dude, and you which made it awesome to play with you, because I was mad, excited, intense. I get excited over a loose ball, and Horace was chill. In his first year, he looking at me like, "Who's this dude? What's wrong with this dude?" But you know, but the fact that you got into coaching, man, I think is tremendous. And I'll go on record as saying, if I ever had a head coaching job anywhere, I'd be trying to get you on my staff, fam. So much respect, and we really appreciate your body of work.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Horace, when you were talking, it made me think about, I was looking at the tournament the other day, and Charles Barkley was talking about what's that guy's name that got fired? I can't think of his name. Will something that got fired at LSU.
Will Wade.
About pressure being on Kevin Nickelberry. He was talking about pressure being on Kevin Nickelberry, sliding over, and he said those 6 inches between the assistant coach and the head coach chair are bigger than anybody can imagine. When you went from assistant to being head coach, what was like? Did you experience that jump that he was talking about, or did that not really bother you anything?
Oh no, it did, because from a head coaching standpoint, you know, you're thinking about a lot of different things. It's almost like you're putting together a team and players. Everybody got a role, and you know, and as an assistant coach, you have a role. You know, and you have so many things that you have to do as an assistant coach. But as a head coach, you're responsible for everybody. Like we lost the game against Nova Southeastern 5 o'clock that afternoon. We was going to leave the next morning. So my whole thing was I could just go back to my room and chill. No, I had to be responsible for 16 people, trying to put a curfew on them, making sure, hey, everybody do what's right, finish this trip out. So from going into a head coaching, you think about everything. You got to manage the assistant coaches. You got 15 players. You got to think about, depending on today's age, you know, you might have to deal with these parents. You got so much on your plate. But as you do it more often, you start being able to use your assistant coaches a lot better. You start using your players to buy into the team so that they can manage the team. But at the end of the day, you know, hey, if you don't win, you know, they put foot up your behind. I tell them, they call me Coach Broadnax only when we are winning. If we're not winning, they call me something else. So, like they say, you're a coach. Yeah, they call me that sometime, you know. So, but yeah, it's different. I was pulling for Kevin because I coached against Kevin and he was at Howard, and I was hoping that you know, he could get a couple of wins in there up on the LSU. And you know, I don't know, you know, some of the troubles that they have. Maybe he could have got the interim job, or maybe he could have bounced back and got another head job. So yeah, it's different. It's different, but you learn to manage it. and you learn to delegate a lot too.
Tyler,
because you can't do everything.
Right. That is true. Tyler, do you look forward to the day when you move over to those 6 inches?
Oh yeah, I look forward to it. But right now I'm still trying, learn as much as I can, and once the opportunity presents itself, I'll be ready.
So let me ask you this. If I came to you and I said, I got a few opportunities for you. You could be head coach of the high school you went to. You could be head coach at Georgetown. Or you could be an NBA head coach. Or you could be head coach at a Division II school or a junior college.
Or you could be co-host on this show. Hey, Horace.
Yeah.
How many more Horace can this dude have, Horace?
Hey, Tyler. The co-host role on this show doesn't pay much, so I would tell you to pass on that one.
Hey, Horace, you know I couldn't help myself, Horace.
I was wondering, or to be the head coach of an AAU program, or be a head coach of a YMCA program, or be a head coach at a middle school.
Oh man!
You giving him the choice of all that, Malcolm?
Yeah. Well, no, really, those. I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's in college now. Because there's differences. I mean, I think I've always thought of, let's take a NBA guy. To me, that's just coaching basketball and managing personalities. I think
exactly
in college, the head coach also really has a role of a general manager, because you're putting the pieces that you want and guys that you recruit. So that's why I was going with that. I mean, there's different things to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for me personally, I love Georgetown so much. I'll probably choose to go back to Georgetown versus the NBA job, because I want to see Georgetown do well more so than an NBA team. So that's what I would choose personally if I had the choice between an NBA job and Georgetown. Now, if it was an NBA job versus another high level, Power 5 school, I would choose the NBA job. But Georgetown itself, I would choose Georgetown.
So you wouldn't be signing up at Syracuse. That's good news. Good news. I like that.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead, Horace.
I was just saying, I mean, just to kind of jump in on with Tyler a little bit, and just I don't know if it's advice. We always give something away free that we don't follow, but depending on what you're trying to get accomplished in your coaching career, make sure your decisions or your choices line up with that long-term goal. I mean, if you're trying to get to the NBA, then you need to try to get there as quickly as possible and leave the college game. But if you're trying to stay in the college game and trying to get back to Georgetown, then start making your decisions based on that. As far as because sometimes you could get caught up and be loving the game and don't necessarily look at your long-term goals. So work your ass off at Alcorn and be looking for your next opportunity if it lines up with your personal goals.
Mm-hmm.
Something. Sorry.
I just want to say that might be what you just said, Horace. Might be one of my favorite moments on the show, because that's the networking connection that we're always constantly striving for. You giving a young guy advice and you said we give advice based on something we didn't do sometimes. I just want to say thank you for that. That was beautiful.
So, and I was going to take that and run with it. I agree with Mark Morris. That was incredible advice. Just awesome thing to say to Hoya family. But both of your trajectories have been filled with networking. Both of your trajectories have been filled with coming from the place where you did your best work from a basketball standpoint. So, just going forward, like, Horace, you talked about networking. Tyler, you clearly understand networking. How important is it for you to not take for granted people you meet along the way? Because clearly, Horace, you have some connections to the Alcorn State head coach. Am I not correct? You know the guy at Alcorn State currently now, Boosie, right?
Not really. I think one of the assistant coaches might have was there. Evans was there with you, Tyler, for 1 year? Or
Yeah. Last year, Evans was there with us. Last year.
Yeah, he was the head coach of Armstrong here in Savannah, so I know him. And
yeah,
I mean, the coaching profession is extremely small. It's a small circle. It's a very, 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 very small circle, and I say that, and also throwing some more advice out there. Like Gene, if I sat down and looked at your head coach resume, I guarantee you, I don't have a cell phone now, but if you gave me 40 minutes, I could probably get it based on guys that I know in this profession. I could probably get any head coach cell phone in this business if I needed it, because I know enough people in this circle, and the circle's so small, the circle knows you too. And one thing about that is that you got to always, be prepping and then trying to touch people, and your circle is going to grow. So, I be excited on the journey that you're getting ready to take in this profession. It's going to be fun, and a lot of opportunities going to be out there, but you got to be prepared for that opportunity.
Tyler, what do you say that in terms of, as you go along the way? Because when you were younger, clearly you balled out. You were 18-10 in Mississippi. MVP of your crew, took them to the semis. If not the state. Like, how important is it along the way to make sure you're not burning bridges, you're reinforcing them, or you're building bridges?
It's very important because like Horace mentioned, you got to be ready for the opportunity. Once that opportunity is called, once your name is called, and I try to network. I try to treat everybody right, and treat people with respect. So, I don't burn any bridges because it may be a guy who may worked in the restaurant at the Levy Center, and he may be someone may call and ask their opinion about you. So you just never know, who you may need. Then especially in the coaching profession, even when I'm out recruiting, I try to speak to everybody. Look everyone in the eyes. Just network, because you never know who may call you, and you never know when you need to be ready.
Yeah.
Well, based on what you guys just said, I'm not the guy who's doing the hiring, but there's 2 openings on the Georgetown staff. So, make a phone call. Let's get some Hoyas involved in the program.
What openings, Markham?
There are 2 assistant coaches that were let go. So they're looking for assistant coaches.
Who was that?
I think it was Kirby and Wahid, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Well, they don't want to hire me because I'm gonna be like Will Wade. I'm gonna make some strong ass offers. Tyler, don't follow that up, man. Stay clean, man. Don't follow that up. Man.
Speaking of that, Horace, I know you're joking, but the NIL has kind of changed the ball game.
Yeah.
What what are your feelings on that? And I know you wish you could have gotten an NIL deal playing for a national championship team, but how do you feel about it as a coach?
Well, you're just saying that coming about,
right?
I mean, I love it. I mean, you know, they always talking about paying the players. You know, I just don't think in our situation, Tyler's situation, in my situation, we're not in a position to say, hey, we're gonna pay players, but give them the opportunity to build their brand, so call it. You know, if they have a brand, some players do have brands. If they could build it, they should be able to make as much money they possibly can off of it, because that's just the American way. That's just the capitalism way. And for the NCAA to try to prevent that, you know, I thought it was horrible from the start. But if an individual could make $100,000 and doing what he does, whether it's promoting a product or what have you, he should have that freedom to do it. So, you know, it may be an opportunity. I think, you know, some programs are jumping on that. Some people are saying it's confusing, it's unclear, but some programs in this country are grabbing that bull by the horn, and they're going to be the first in it, and they're going to be able to get that recruiting edge up. If I could go to a program and they say, hey, you know, by the time you leave here after 4 years, we'll have you up to $100,000 a year, whether I'm a big time player or not, then this day and age, I may gravitate towards that. So, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for programs like Georgetown University to be the forefront, be the forerunner in that. I mean, because it's all about recruiting. I mean, it ain't about, you know, Pat. It ain't that Pat can't coach. Pat just ain't got no players. You need players, man. You need players, and my IQ go through the roof when I get good players. And when I don't have good players, I'm what the people don't call you coach no more. They call you a dumb motherfucker. Why we hire this dumb motherfucker?
Change up on you.
Tyler, what's the NIL scenario at Alcorn? Has it been great?
Well, you know, right now, as far as, you know, at our level, you know, I mean, our players have the opportunity to get it, but you know, like Horace mentioned, those NIL deals come from more so schools like at the Power 5 level, you know, like Georgetown, you know, and them. So our players, you know, really haven't really tapped into it like that yet. So, you know, after winning, you know, the SWAC regular season championship, you know, I mean, we'll probably get a little bit more recognition, you know, from that standpoint. But right now at our level, you know, it's not really that big of right now.
I'm gonna talk to both of you offline a little bit. Maybe I could help out a little bit there, because that's kind of my background. So we'll chop it up a little bit. We have a special guest though that just popped in. William Stein. Coach Stein, can you hear us?
I'm here, Gene. I see Horace. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Coach Stein, the last time I was up in
last time I saw you were in Jersey City.
Yeah, y'all beat our ass.
Peacockville, on the small gym, which is the big gym now.
Yeah, y'all beat our ass. You had Big Ed as the assistant AD.
Exactly right.
So I wanted to get Coach Stein on to just give him a shout out, give him his flowers, because St. Peter's is doing their thing.
That's awesome.
This year, and we'll never forget you, obviously, on the hilltop for the 10 seasons you put in there with Coach Thompson, because we know that wasn't easy. I'm sure these two coaches know it wasn't easy.
Exactly right. Like, hey, I'll never forget any of you guys. None of you.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How are you keeping, Coach? How are you feeling these days?
I'm good. I'm feeling very well, especially after last night. Now I got two teams in there now, you know.
What's the other?
St.Peter's, right?
Yeah.
I played at Providence.
Providence.
That's right.
I got two. Hey, I'll give you another funny one, right? I worked 4 years at Brian Cowell, and I left to go to Georgetown. They were in there too for the first time. So I had three at one time.
Wow, yeah. Okay.
So Coach Stein,
maybe we need you back on the staff at Georgetown to bring some of that luck.
You'll leave that one alone. Hey, Coach Stein,
Yeah.
can you share some of your experience, particularly with Tyler? Because Horace has been dropping some gems. Can you share some of your experiences? Because Tyler's a budding assistant coach at Alcorn State now. Can you share?
It was easy. It was easy. Just do what you're asked to do, and always stay ahead, and know the answer to the question before it's asked. And that's the key.
Okay.
That's the key. You know your role. That's huge.
Okay. My other question.
You have to know your role, and and just be prepared for anything.
Okay.
No surprise. Make sure the gym is clean. Make sure the nets are not falling down. So when somebody messes up, you're in practice at 4 because it's going to start at 5 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach Stein, you talking about Coach Thompson, or are you talking about in general?
I'm talking about Coach Thompson. See, I got the Georgetown because I passing the ball up in Providence. One night for 52, another for 40. That's what I did.
Oh okay.
So, Coach, I really appreciate you popping in, man. This means the world. But the question I really have for you is, because you're emeritus at St. Peter's, you're there for life, right? And obviously, I'm waiting for them to do the same thing at the Hilltop. But the question I have for you is, who's going to be the next coach at St. Peter's after this year?
I know, right? I don't do it anymore. I retired, I retired as AD in 2008.
Right.
Wow. I'm in retirement. I worked fundraising for him for 2 years after that.
But you're emeritus. You're emeritus. They still have your number.
Exactly right. But I gotta find out who can get tickets for Friday.
Yeah, that's probably
it's like out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly.
So
it was funny though. I was talking back and forth. The president and I were texting on the phone about the game. He was nervous and everything like that, right? And then it begins Kentucky. We're down by 4. And he said to me, he said, gee, you think we got a shot? I said, check the clock out. There's still time on it. Last night he texted me, he's getting nervous. I said, just relax. I said, don't be nervous. I said, you're fine. I said, we're good. We'll be good on this one. So.
You saying that makes me think of Shaheen's response to the reporter's question after the first win. She asked him if he was nervous. He's like, it's basketball. Like, just, he was so calm.
Yeah, really, those kids have no fear. Yeah. I mean, absolutely no fear. Because I mentioned, when they win, I text them like Patrick. If they win, I text. They lose, I don't, nothing. I'm blank, right? But no, he said they have no fear, absolutely none. And what he's done,
like that.
What he's done, he has built a system. The kids that he has all know a role, and they've accepted it. I mean, he can take 5 out and put 5 in. It's like the system's going to be the same. Each kid knows what they're supposed to do, and they play hard defense. Like I said to Gene, they play hard defense for 40 minutes. Boy, they're in you. Kentucky, last night with Murray State, those kids are in your face, and they will go. And, and each one, like Banks had the other night, he only had 4, but he had 26 the first game. We lost to Providence early in the year. We lost by like 13, but they were like 29 for 31 for the line. We were like 10 for 12. In that game, Banks had 25. But they all know. And the kid who's really come along is the big kid, number 11. With blocking shots, God almighty, he got some timing. And he's learned offense. Now he's better offensively than he was.
Coaches reminded me of the scouting reports you used to give 40 years ago. He killing it.
Yeah. Remember one? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, Coach, remember when he was doing the Villanova one? Remember that one? Coach brought all up. He cut the TV up, right? And all of a sudden, he looked at it. He showed the Villanova, not the St. John's tape. We're up 41-9 at half, right? So he looks, he goes, all right, turn the meter off. F Villanova, let's go. We beat them, then we never lost rest of the year until the final.
Yeah. Coach Stein, you sound great, man.
Does sound great.
I don't know. My feet above the grass. That's all I can say. Thank you. Good seeing you again, too.
Really cool, though. I don't mean to overtalk you, Coach. I'm sorry, but he just brought up something. He can take out 5 and he can put in 5. Is that how difficult is that, Horace and Tyler, in today's game?
I think it's pretty hard because kids a lot now, they think they're supposed to do only what they want to do.
Exactly.
You know, and these kids, they're all quick. And you know what I think is a big problem with the game right now? The transfer portal. Because all that's going to do is get guys to cheat. The AU guys will be in there. The agents will be in there trying to talk to some kid. Well, you don't want to stay here. You want to leave. The guy's messing you up. He's ruining your pro game. That's the biggest problem. That's what big. I mean, it drives me crazy when you look at teams now. They all of a sudden they pick this kid. I think Villanova is really, really good, right? They got 5 transfers. Indiana, a kid from UMass or something else, but those are all kids coming in. And I think if you want to have their rule, where the rule was you had to get permission, so they have the rule in, but you don't need permission, but you sit here, that'll stop a lot of this nonsense because the agents and AU guys are brutal. They're brutal. You grew up with those people, so they want to be in your head. It's the coach just want you to transfer out. He wants you to get rid of you. That they want you to get out so you can go someplace else and maybe they can make some money on you. That whole FBI thing came out last year where all those coaches got in trouble for that, where guys were giving agents, assistant coaches money to get kids in.
Yeah. Well, it's a different age, Coach Stein. That transfer portal, kids could leave when they want to leave. So it's a whole different strategy you got to come up with. I know Coach Thompson never did like those AAU guys or those he called them street agents. Street agents.
Yep. Yep. And it would be funny. You recruit a kid. I was recruiting a kid from New York up there, not Freddie Brown, another kid. And there's a guy said, "Well, that's my kid."
Yeah.
What do you mean that's your kid? That's not your kid. But that's what those guys in the community would do. Oh, that's my kid. That's good. And they sort of like a role guy. Like they can't tell you who's a good teacher, who's a good school academically. They have no idea. All they do is trying to use you for themselves. You heard Georgetown this year is when the big kid left for Maryland. Yeah. That really hurt them. I mean, because they had no inside presence at all. I mean, the other 2 guys went, like one guy went with Detroit and the other guy went over Europe, but like I watched Maryland on purpose, right? Yeah. He never got the ball. All he did, the games, all year I saw, right? I must have seen that maybe 10 times. I just cut in because I'd be watching Georgetown when they were on. But other games I watched too. But all he did was set up screens 20 feet from the basket and roll. It was like, give and go to hell. He wasn't getting it back. Yeah. The only points he scored were off the offensive board. Never saw the ball. Never. He'd be in the post like that, and they wouldn't throw it to him. Or drive and throw some crazy pass quick to him, But to me, like, how do you convince a kid to go from a program where he's going to get the ball all the time to a program he's not even seeing it? That is pretty sad. That is sad. He had bad advice from somebody.
Yeah, somebody gave him hella bad advice. Like that was, that did not turn out well for him.
Yep, that was sad. That whole rule.
Yeah, we're up on an hour, and we try not to take up too much of our Hoya family time on a Sunday of all days. But Coach, I really want to thank you for popping in. It means a lot. You have not been forgotten. St. Peter's run is all due to the fact that you left us and went to them. Horace and Tyler, continued success. Markham, can you take us out, please, sir?
Hey, Gene, me and Stein need a check, man. You need to send us a check, man. And Tyler.
You know what's funny, though?
Oh, yeah.
When they get the game last night, right? I know getting off, right? Getting all these texts from alumni, former students, right? And they thanked me for building the program. Every one of them. 26 years of doing that with no money.
No money. Good.
No money.
No money.
That's great. That's great. Well, I
appreciate you guys inviting me on. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Great.
I'm watching Illinois struggling to win down there. They were down to what's the name? To Houston.
Wow.
They're about four now. They just had trouble getting in the game. So.
Well, I want to.
You're a basketball junkie, Coach Stein.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
I want to thank all three of you for coming on, but I also want to make an invitation, a standing invitation to the anonymous, allegedly player who played for Georgetown, who wrote the glowing profile of Craig Estrick. Put your name on it and come on the Hoya locker room and we'll chop it up.
That's fine. I'd be happy to do that.
I don't think Coach Stein read that.
I don't think you read that one, Coach.
I think Coach better go on mute.
I probably did. I got my hearing aids in.
What I'm going to do, Coach, is I'm going to send you the article that Markham's talking about right now.
Oh, okay. Please do that.
I'm doing it. Right.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I like people to put their name on stuff. I don't. Yeah, let's just leave it at that because I don't want to jump into the den of thieves with anybody. Let's get them on here. Standing invitation. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Call Horace and get my number because he can get to anybody in 40 minutes.
If I need to.
I'll do that. I'll do that for you guys. I got you on Facebook.
Hey, yo, fam, much appreciation to all of you. This is what it's about to me. The fact that I can reconnect and the fact that I can connect. And I got nothing but love for everybody on this joint right now. And thank you. And until next time, man, this is a Hoya Locker Room, one of our best shows, and nothing but big love to everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you. Everybody be well.
Okay.
Take care.
Great to hear from you, Coach Stein.
Same here. Thank you.